Okay, folks, this is going to be cool. The Northern California Naginata Federation is one of the oldest in the U.S. Now that you know that factoid, what is Naginata? All right, you'll know it once you see it, but I'll read from their webpage. Naginata is a Japanese weapon consisting of a curved sword blade mounted at the end of a staff. The tradition of Naginata is unique in that it has been kept alive primarily by women for the last 3 centuries. Today, the martial art is practiced across the world by people of all ages and backgrounds. Now, important note, the Northern California Naginata Federation practices in San Jose and San Francisco. Practice is the key word. Do not try this at home, folks, because they're doing it for you on your screen from a safe distance. Check out the Northern California Naginata Federation.
Your overhead cut. Changing sides.
This is Naginata. A naginata is a Japanese glaive or halberd. Wielding this weapon has developed into a martial art, also called naginata. It is one of the many Gendai Budo, or modern martial arts, that come from Japan.
So David and I were drinking one day and he was like, hey, want to go to the back and try to hit me with a big stick? And that's how I began Naginata.
I was immediately drawn to Naginata because of the beautiful sweeping motions, and it really reminded me of ocean waves.
I'd heard of Naginata a long time ago. Didn't really know too much about it, but it wasn't until I was in Okinawa that I actually saw it in real life. I was in Okinawa after college because I went over there to teach English and also to train in a martial art called Yamane Ryu. Part of my regimen was basically to train by myself at the Okinawa Prefectural Budokan 2 to 3 times a week. One of those days I was there, a trio of young ladies came in dressed in immaculately pressed keikogi, hakama, and they had in their hands naginata. I was curious because I'd never seen it before, so I decided just basically to put down my weapons and to watch them train. And I was absolutely impressed with basically how clean they moved, how beautifully they moved, how gracefully they moved, and how aggressively they moved when it came time for Jigeko.
When I first moved to California, I had the opportunity to visit Miyako Tanaka Sensei's dojo in El Cerrito, and I was immediately drawn to the power and the gracefulness of her movement.
The naginata has been around since at least the 11th century. On the battlefield, it was particularly effective against horsemen and foot soldiers alike. However, with the advent and adoption of firearms, the weapon came to be primarily studied by women of samurai families. To this day, it is still highly associated with being a woman's martial art. By the early mid-20th century, naginata was incorporated into the physical education curriculum for women. After World War II, naginata became one of the many martial arts, such as kendo, karate-do, and aikido, to be reinstated in sport-like competition formats. However, it did not gain global awareness as quickly. In 1979, our founder, Miyako Tanaka Sensei, was sent by the Japanese Ministry of Education, Science, and Culture to teach naginata in the United States. In 1990, Tanaka Sensei and her students founded the Northern California Naginata Federation, one of the oldest naginata organizations outside of Japan.
I first found out about naginata from my kendo sensei, who did a small demonstration, and I was immediately intrigued with the possibilities of this weapon in combat and also of its unique place in history as a woman's weapon.
Similar to other modern martial arts, naginata includes a shiai, or freestyle sparring aspect, as well as an engi, or choreographed movement aspect. The two are practiced together during training. While naginata may not be as widespread as other martial arts, many of our members were introduced to naginata after previously studying other martial arts.
Before I met Naginata, I was practicing kendo and already had a sense of Japanese martial arts. As soon as I realized there were Naginata dojos in the Bay Area, I started my serious training. I chose to do it because of its varied moveset. Naginata is a long polearm and the grip on the shaft changes. That enables many ways to use Naginata in combat, like different types of swings, quick cuts, thrusts, blocks, and many more. And the target area on the opponent ranges from up to the head to down to the shin, so there are a lot of choices to attack. It is just fun to come up with different strategies and pick the best, most effective ways to attack.
My mom comes from Chinese descent and my dad is of Japanese descent, and growing up I learned a lot of Chinese martial arts. By the time I was in high school, I thought it might be good to learn a Japanese martial art to be a bit more culturally balanced. Then when I was in college, there was a Naginata club, and there was something about the way it looked and just the way they carried themselves and how they were able to manipulate this almost 6 foot long weapon.
One of our dojo at San Jose State University is a joint kendo and Naginata dojo. This gives us a great opportunity to cross-train. But what is it about Naginata that makes it so unique?
On a purely physical level, I think Naginata is probably one of the most dynamic weapon-based Japanese martial arts. The importance of having your body mechanics aligned and in sync is so much more emphasized. You have to train your body to operate almost like a clock, where your arms, your feet, your hips, your torso have to be perfectly in sync to manipulate the weapon. And then on top of that, you have to be able to fight on both sides.
One of the great things about Naginata is that anyone can take part.
My daughter saw that Tender Ryu Naginata classes were being offered at our local community center. I wasn't really familiar with Naginata, but I said to my daughter, if you want to take the class, I'll take it with you. It would be a good time for me to learn one of the martial arts and also bond with my kid. And one of these days, I hope to beat my daughter in a match, which I haven't accomplished yet. But I'm going to keep trying.
While it is taught as a physical art, Naginata offers a way to reflect on your interactions with other people and your own nature.
By practicing Naginata, I am able to find out my maturity. This may be an interesting answer for what I enjoy about Naginata, but you don't have many opportunities to learn what you're missing once you become an adult.
Naginata is a great teacher because it readily shows weaknesses in your body technique and in your mind. So I like to practice Naginata because it helps me to improve myself.
Naginata challenged me to really face my fears and to stop making excuses for myself. Before joining the NCNF, I avoided doing shiai at all costs. Reflecting on it now, I realized that it was because putting on my bogu made me very uncomfortable, and frankly, I was afraid of losing. And I realized that if I keep practicing only the things that make me comfortable, I will never truly grow. And most importantly, I am learning that it's not about winning or losing. It's really about challenging myself and my own limits and learning that I can keep going forward.
I enjoy the process of conquering fear. No matter it is in practice or matches, the attacks are real and it sometimes hurts. When I just got started, and it was intimidating to face someone who is really good, because the fight would just punish me with every single mistake, which I made a lot as a beginner. And in those desperate times, I learned to challenge myself. I learned to throw myself in to catch the slightest chance of victory. And that is when I felt I started to grow, both in and outside of the arena. I still remember a lesson I learned from Naginata about composure. It is in the men's final of Dangai division. I lost the match, and in dismay, I threw my arms into the air. I was scolded by my sensei the moment I stepped out of the field. Not because I lost the game, but I lost to my own emotions. That was the moment when I started learning to keep calm no matter the situation. It is a very important lesson for me as a pretty emotional figure.
Beyond the dojo, our Northern California Naginata Federation members often enjoy socializing together. Many of us have found a community through Naginata.
I enjoyed the camaraderie. My favorite memory was attending Bryn Mawr in 2018 with the rest of NCNF.
So, tangentially related to Naginata, I have many fond memories of the people I've met during my practice of this martial arts. For instance, Chad Sensei actually taught me to drive stick on a way to a competition in Los Angeles.
I was interested in connecting the community through Naginata. I was able to meet wonderful sensei and friends all over the world through learning Naginata.
There is life after retirement, and Naginata has enabled me to meet and train with other practitioners through seminars held throughout the year.
Overall, whether it's the physical aspect, character development, or community building, Naginata has brought joy to all of us in many different ways. And we hope to continue the tradition that Tanaka Sensei began for us. For more information, you can visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/NorCalNaginata. You can also follow us on Instagram at NorCal_Naginata.